A community back in the headlines.
A massive search of a Cleveland County property enters day 2, and we are live over that scene right now with Chopper 9 Sky Zoom. You can see law enforcement standing in what looks like a field next to a wood line, next to a blue tent that they put up in just the last hour.
Now, after hours of unanswered questions, new video ties this back to the 9-year-old's disappearance from 24 years ago. That car, very similar in color and age as the pictures of cars on the right here that the FBI said Asha may have gotten into based on witness accounts. Now, for 24 years, a family, a community, and police have been wondering, many people have been pleading about what happened to 9-year-old Asha Degree. Well, now they could be a step closer with what happened today.
We have team coverage for you. Let's start with Channel 9's Ken Lemon. Ken, you've been on top of this case for 24 years, and this is the biggest development you've seen in decades.
Yeah, it could very well be that biggest that we've seen in at least 10 years. Now, again, investigators haven't given specifics about why they're here, and they're just wrapping up here behind me at this home. But the last time I saw so many officers, searchers here from different agencies was during a search for Asha Degree. Now, you have the FBI, the SBI, and the Sheriff's Department all working on this scene here. Now, the group said that constantly worked to solve Asha Degree's disappearance. Several people actually came here hoping to hear that there's new information in this case that has touched so many, like a barber that I met earlier today who says that he knows the family, and he told me that he hopes the search ends with a positive resolution in this case. This is an individual who told me, like so many individuals who have come by here, there's a large group right over here just off to my left that drove out here. They've been sitting just across the street from everything here. They know that investigators haven't given specifics about why they're here. They know they're here serving warrants, but these individuals say they want a resolution in a case here that has touched so many of them.
24 years ago, 9-year-old Asha Degree vanished, leaving nothing but questions for her family.
She was just a beautiful kid. Right, quiet, kind of, smile a lot,
Willie Key is Asha's great uncle. Today, he came to see the search for himself. What would it mean to your family to finally get some closure?
Oh, it wouldn't mean the world to us to know that we found out what happened to our niece.
Agents with the FBI, SBI, and Cleveland County Sheriff's Office descended on Cherryville Road. There was an extensive search using ground-penetrating radar and specially trained canine dogs. After searching for the better part of 2 days, authorities towed away this green 1960 model car. The FBI put out photographs of a similar-looking car years ago that Asha might have gotten into. It's not an exact match, but it would have been dark around 2:30 in the morning when she allegedly got into that vehicle. This search is one of many that have occurred down through the years to determine what happened to the 9-year-old.
And then we kept hearing different things, and then it not mount to anything. So that just all I know. I just have to wait and see.
Authorities have not said what, if anything, was taken during the search and whether it rules any possibilities out.
Yeah, it gives me hope and it makes me a little angry.
In what way?
I don't really know how to explain it, but that somebody would do my niece like that and keep it covered up all this time.
It would be good if we can get some closure on the situation. And, for all these people to be out here, I can't say if it is or if it ain't true, but I've never seen this many FBI agents and SBI agents and the sheriffs.
Valentine's Day in 2000, when 9-year-old Asha Degree was last seen walking away from her home in Shelby. Asha's family last saw her asleep in her bed around 2:30 a.m. An hour and a half later, she was seen by drivers walking along NC Highway 18. Her parents reported her missing at 6:30 in the morning. More than a year later, on August 3rd, 2001, Asha's backpack was found in the woods along Highway 18, 30 miles away. Inside the backpack was a book checked out from Asha's school library and a t-shirt that did not belong to her. In 2015, 15 years after her disappearance, the FBI, state investigators, and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office re-examined the case. The investigation turned up a possible lead. Asha may have been seen getting into a dark green 1970s model Lincoln Continental Mark IV or Ford Thunderbird with rust around the wheel wells. The FBI publicly announced the potential lead in 2016 and released images of the vehicle models.
And in 2019, her mother sat down with Channel 9's Ken Lemon, saying that the lack of answers, just knowing what happened, has been agonizing.
What has this 18 years of waiting been like for you?
It's worse than death, because at death you got closure. So we can't give up. Until we have closure, we cannot give up.
Let me ask you, a car that may have been involved or may not 24 years ago, what evidence could be left in a vehicle, maybe sitting in a barn or out in a field?
You'd be surprised what's left in a vehicle 24 years later. Hairs and fibers. There could be just things that are not to the naked eye, assuming that harm has come to this person and they were harmed inside the vehicle, or they were placed in the vehicle after being harmed. Mm-hmm. There could be, blood that you can't see anymore because it's been scrubbed out, but it's still on the carpet, it's still on the seats. There's a number of things, even 24 years later.
How much harder is it as years go on to solve cases like this? We're talking a quarter of a century almost.
So what's interesting about cold cases is that I think there is a general belief they become harder to solve. And, there are situations where that may be true, but it's been my experience working cold cases that it's not necessarily true. I mean, it really boils down to two things: persistence and patience. And if you have a case where detectives or other officers sort of hook onto them, and as weeks turn to months, months turn to years, they still keep working the case, and they still keep looking for leads, or they get leads and they follow them through. And more importantly, Scott, they go back and they look at what has been done over the last 24 years. In other words, people that were interviewed back 24 years ago, they may go back and re-interview them, because what happens is relationships change between people over the years, and things that 24 years ago they wouldn't own up to, they may today.
Cleveland County Sheriff was a fresh-faced officer ranking as a shift commander back then in 2020, the year that marked the 20th anniversary of Asha's disappearance. He said he hopes he can give her family some answers.
She went missing under my watch, and it's my responsibility to bring her home.
There is still a $45,000 reward for information about Asha. This poster includes an age progression picture of Asha, who would now be 34 years old. Anyone with information regarding Asha's whereabouts should call 704-484-4788. Again, that number, 704-484-4788.
Well, she is the type of child that would give you the shirt off her back. She never wanted anybody mad at her for anything. She wanted everybody to be her friend. She wanted everybody to be happy. After 20 years, I still believe my daughter is alive. I do not believe she's dead. And I know somebody knows something. I'm not crazy enough to think that a 9-year-old can disappear into thin air without somebody knowing something.